Yeah.
So, hello, Rimi. Welcome to the Young Professional Society series of webinars, and I'm delighted to have you here. I think you're a fantastic example of innovation and leadership, and and I'm sure our listeners will benefit greatly from your experience and your advice. So, tell us a little bit about your company and go into the, talk about the company and where you come from.
Yeah. Okay. Well, firstly, thank you for having me. I'm delighted to kind of share my brand story and business details with you. So yeah, I can add my presentation and talk through it. How does that sound?
Great, fantastic.
Okay. Okay, great. So you can see the first screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So just to let you know what exactly we do, we make indulgent vegan chocolate that tastes like mainstream chocolate. So we feel like there's a generalization and a stigma that comes with vegan food. So we want to take that away and be available for all consumers, and for consumers to eat our products and think, well, wow, this does not taste vegan. It just tastes like a great tasting chocolate. So that's what we currently do. So going on to how we started, here's the range of what we make. So we make chocolate buttercups, as you can see on the left hand side. So we have 5 flavors of those, and we make kind of something similar to just a milk chocolate bar, which is in the top right. And then we've just launched a cream wafer bar, which is on the bottom right. So this is the current range which we sell. And we sell and retail into major high street retailers, including Holland & Barrett and Boots, Waitrose, gyms and cafes and independent stores. So we have quite a lot of retail outlets that we've built up. So I guess that brings me on to the brand story, a little bit about ourselves. Usually I kind of start from where I started in the business back in 2013, but seeing as it's a young entrepreneurial, maybe I'll start a little bit sooner than that. I mean, just going back to, when I studied, I got, my 10 GCSEs. I went off to college and did three A levels. I think it was A levels in those days. I believe it's AS levels now. And then I went on to Nottingham Trent University to study economics. And whilst I was at university, I discovered I wanted to go into investment banking. And it's a very competitive industry, especially when you don't go to a red brick university. I went to Nottingham Trent, which is a good university, but it's an old polytechnic. And within the industry of investment banking, you have thousands of applicants from Cambridge, from Oxford, St Andrews, Bristol, Birmingham, Manchester. So it was very competitive. So I went out and applied for internships. So I thought in my 6 weeks, instead of going on holiday with my friends, I would build up my experience in the industry I wanted to be in to help support my CV. So that's what I did, and that paid off because I received an internship from an asset management firm in London. And then when I left university, that experience helped me to get my foot in the door into the industry that I wanted to be in, which was within investment banking. It was hedge fund marketing. So it's quite a small kind of area within investment banking. So that's what I went on to do. And I was in investment banking for around, I'd say, 6 years. And I always felt like I wanted to be in finance. My older brother, he was in finance, and I always looked up to him and thought, yes, I want to do that. But when I was actually working in finance, it wasn't all that I thought it would be. I did enjoy what I did, but it wasn't my passion. You know, I wouldn't jump out of bed every day and think, great, I want to go do hedge fund marketing today. I'm really excited about my day at work. Which, you know, I began to feel, you know, is this my passion? Is this what I really want to be doing, you know, for at least the next, you know, 15 to 20 years? And I discovered it wasn't. So I had some kind of personal kind of circumstances where I moved out of London. So that was a perfect time for me to maybe end my career in investment banking and move into a career which I did have a passion for, but I didn't know what that was. And at that point in time, I joined my husband's business, and he was in textiles. And again, I joined his business and I helped him, but again, that wasn't my passion. That's not what I wanted to do. And then just, you know, out of, I guess, chance, I became interested in healthy eating and healthy products that were on the market, and eating to make myself feel better and sharing this with my family and my friends. And then when I was looking for products that were healthy, they weren't healthy. When I looked at the labels, it wasn't what they said it was. So it was at that point in time I thought, well, I want to create something that's honest, that's transparent, and I want to launch this into the food market, and that's what I want to do. And it wasn't even at that point I thought, this is what I want to, this is my passion and it's what I want to make a career out of. It was the passion that led me into a career, and I was very mindless of it at that point. And I didn't have much money to start the business with. And to be honest, I didn't want to invest too much money, because there's a lot of risk when you do enter business and you think you want to, you know, you'll invest a certain amount of money, but will you get that money back? So you want to do as much as you can with very little resource. So I set up at home. I thought, I don't need a factory, I don't need certain premises. And, you know, with the UK being very supportive of business, I set up at home and I got certified. So I started making these bars at home. And again, I wanted to validate that there was a demand for the product that I was making. There was no point in me making these products and then going out there and for consumers to be like, no, I don't think that I want to buy that product. So I went to the retailer that I had in mind, which was Whole Foods in London. I thought they would be my key retailer, and I couldn't get a meeting with the buyer. So I just turned up at the office and I said to the receptionist that I had a meeting with him, and I didn't. And thankfully, he gave me 10 minutes of his time. And basically, a long story short, he took on the product, and my first order was for 5,000 units. So I went back home. I got all my family to help me with that first order because I hadn't employed anybody. I didn't have any staff. It was just me. So we were determined to get that order out on time, and we did. And that was the start of the business. It just grew from there. In about 6 months' time, I moved out of the house because I was making about 2,000 bars a week by hand. And at that point, I could then approach a factory and say, well, can you make the product for me now? I could hit their minimums. Whereas before it was the case, no, your minimums are too low. So there I found a factory. And then as I found a factory, that freed up my time to concentrate on the sales and the marketing aspect of the business. And I contacted more retailers. I reached out to some of the multiples in the UK, and thankfully they liked the product and they took it on. So that's how it all started, and that was about seven years ago, back in 2013. And we've been going for about 6-7 years. It hasn't exactly been a consistent journey. We have had a lot of ups and downs. We've had products, we've discontinued products, we've launched products, we've had products which didn't sell. But I was determined not to let that put me off. We changed the direction in what we were offering towards consumers. We've had to change as the market changes and how consumers' needs change, for healthy eating, and competitors come into the space. So there's a lot of threats as well, which you need to look out for. So we've had a lot of bumps around into the business, but we've kept going. We've not let that put us off. So about 3 years ago, about 3-4 years ago, we came to a point where we were retailing with Waitrose, and we needed investment in order to supply Waitrose, and we did a small investment round. So we had angel investors, small investors and family help us with that round. And more recently, about coming up to a year ago, we reached out to a venture capitalist. So they invested £2 million to help us scale and grow the business, so we can retail into more retailers and grocery stores around the UK, such as Sainsbury's and Waitrose and Tesco, and also export and launch new products and invest in staff. So you need that financial support if you want to grow and scale the business. If we didn't have that investment, we wouldn't have been able to grow. So yeah, that's the brand story. And along that journey, just before we did take the investment from the angel investors the first time round, we went on Dragon's Den. And that was a very interesting experience. We did need investment at that point. So we thought, what have we got to lose? Let's go on. It was a very nerve-wracking experience. So you don't see the dragons prior to your kind of the show or meeting them. So the first time you meet them is on set. And I was in there for about an hour. And that was all edited down into 10 minutes. They ask you a lot of questions. They intentionally try and catch you out because it makes good TV. And so yeah, it was a very interesting experience, which I don't regret. I'm really glad that we went on there. 4 of the dragons didn't want to invest. 1 dragon did, who was Deborah Meaden. And it didn't feel right to accept the investment. We weren't willing to give the amount that she wanted to take. So we were offering 5% and she wanted 30%. And I felt like we had worked so hard the last 5 years prior to that, building up the business. It didn't intuitively feel right to be giving away that much of the business for such a small amount of money that they wanted to invest, which is £50,000, which is a lot of money still, but what maybe we could have got outside of Dragon's Den with alternative investments would have been a lot more. So we rejected her offer, and it worked out well for us because we had a lot of PR coverage in newspapers, and we got out to 4 million viewers who saw our brand and our product. So yeah, it was a very grueling experience, but positive. So yeah, that's pretty much our brand story. There's a long version of it, but I'll spare you.
Okay, thank you.
And it brings me on to my next slide, which I'll keep brief, because I guess I want to open it up to Q&As, you know, to answer kind of any of your kind of queries. And I guess I've condensed it 5 things into kind of what I've learned, and what I say is that it always starts with your passion. Don't ever do something for the money. Always do something that you love, and the money will come. That's not to say I'm earning a lot of money now. I do make a lot of sacrifices. You know, I'm at my kind of point in life, I have friends that are earning a lot more than me, and you know, have bigger houses and, you know, the car, and you know, that's fine for them, that's what they aspire to do. But I take less of a salary at work because I love what I do, and that's what drives me, and I'm making that sacrifice in order to build something bigger, you know, for in the next 4 or 5 years. So I do make sacrifice for what I believe in. So don't think of the money, just follow the passion. And it's not always perfect, it's not always easy. Like I said, we've had a lot of ups and downs, and it's on the hard days where your passion will drive you, and where your passion will get you through those hard days. Because when you do those hard days, I don't think money alone would get you through that. So it's passion that really fuels success. And the next point is validate your product or service. Like I mentioned in the brand story, I went out to a buyer for healthy products, and he liked it and he took it on. So I also tested products with friends and family. So before you invest too much money, it'd be great just to get out there with your friends and family to see whether there's a demand for the product and service that you want to offer, or do focus groups. Because once you know that there's a demand for your product, then you know your product will get off on the right foot. So the third point is utilize your network. So when you do start business, you'll find that there are maybe networking events, or events that you can go to where you'll meet other people within your industry. And there's a lot of other network groups that even aren't in your industry, and you'll meet people that have had a lot more years of experience than yourself. And you may have heard prior to this, it's good to have a mentor. And I do agree with that, but in some ways I don't. I think it's good to have multiple mentors, because I don't think one person would know it all. I think utilize a network of people that have had years of experience in even alternative industries, but utilize different people, not just one, and get their advice and what they think. If you're unsure about something or any important decisions, just run it by them and see what they would do. I think 4 is you can't have an ego. I think it's good to remove the ego. It's good to just be humble, and don't be afraid of looking stupid. Don't be afraid of asking questions. I think take away your pride, and I think just be open to learning and to take any kind of advice on. So I think that's a good point. And the last one is always be growing. So don't stay in your comfort zone. You must challenge yourself. Read books. If you don't know something, read books. If you want to learn about something, listen to a podcast. In this, I really wish back when I started the business, we had the resources that were available today, such as podcasts, such as, you know, self-help books and what have you. And the resources that are available to you now are kind of infinite. So if you want to learn about something, it's there. The information is there. It's up to you to go out and get it. So yeah, just don't stay in your comfort zone and always be growing. And that brings me to the end. So thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Rimi, for a very enlightening presentation. And it's interesting to hear your story and how you succeeded your business. And unfortunately, it wasn't possible. You mentioned that for Manav to be joining us today, but you know, he's very busy, and Rimi is busy as well. So what we'll do is we are live streaming on Facebook, so there'll be some people who will be watching us this live stream on Facebook. And if you have any questions, and people who are joining us here now on the Zoom meeting, you can either type your questions in the chat box and we can ask Rimi. Professor Ahmed, do you want to start? I believe you have some questions.
I mean, a lot of people you hear want to start their own businesses, and they always say, oh, I don't have the money, or I don't have the contacts, and I don't have the right products. What advice would you give to these people that want to start their own business?
I think when you say that in the nicest way possible, I think there's a lot of excuses there. I think it's almost fear stopping you. And I think you have to remove that fear and be confident, believe in yourself. And sometimes you can be that armchair philosopher where you sit down and you research everything to do with starting a business and everything that you can do, but you just don't do it. So I think you just need to get up and you just need to start doing it. And as I said, the resources and that are available to you now, and even if you don't know somebody, I haven't known people in the industry, and I've just reached out to them like a cold call, and they have really appreciated me reaching out, and they have helped me just because they've been through their journey and they are giving back and by helping me. So I think if you don't, then reach out to somebody that you think would be useful and start from there.
You always get lots of statistics about saying, oh, 90% of all the startups, they go broke within 2 years. So there's a lot of negativity around startup businesses. Did you ever think about that when you were starting, or what was your, when you
to be honest, I didn't have time to think about it because I was just so busy, and it was constant. So, and when you're in a problem, you're just so busy trying to solve that problem and get out of it and just continue working and keeping your business afloat and keeping your cash flow afloat that you just keep going. And I think that's kind of the true spirit of being an entrepreneur. I think it's believing in yourself and having that confidence. And don't get me wrong, I've had days where I've been in tears and I had a really big migraine because I thought, how am I going to pay my staff next month? Because we didn't have enough money in the bank account. But it's trying to think of innovative ways, try and get paid from another supplier early, try and delay your payments to somebody else. It's just being innovative with the way that you're running your business, but always believe in yourself. Don't let that, don't lose that confidence.
Yeah, Rimi, we have a question here. Somebody's just typed a question here. What a great journey. What advice will you give how to keep going and stay motivated as at times both setbacks and people's comments pull one down? Any tips you found helpful?
Well, yeah, I still go through that. I still have sometimes days where I'm just not motivated to maybe face some of the problems, because although you have a business where your passion is, that's 10% of the time. And then when your business gets bigger, 90% of the time is you're fighting fires, you're dealing with problems, and you don't really want to be doing that, but you have to do it. I find what motivates me is listening to podcasts. I'm a woman, I'm a mother. I like listening to other women who are mothers, who have their own businesses, and listen to how they get through their day and their what their advice is. I also listen to other men in business as well, and seeing what their advice. I listen to a guy called Tim Ferriss. I'm very much into positivity and well-being and health. I listen to a lady called Melissa Ambrosini. There's a very good one by Sophie Amoruso. She has a podcast called Girl Boss, which isn't generally for mothers, it's just for women. So she goes through women that have successful businesses and how they have gone through. So when I listen to these podcasts, I feel like everybody goes through the ups and downs. It's not just me, and that's what motivates me. Because if I hear somebody else that's down in the dumps that can get themselves out of it and just carry on, then I feel like I can too.
For somebody who's thinking to start up a business or so, what would you say, what personal qualities and skills does someone need to have to run a successful business? Obviously, you need to have a good idea about the product and that, yeah, but what personal skills and qualities do you need?
I think it depends. It really depends on the business. I feel like, for example, with me, I created the product. I'm into healthy eating, and I'm creative. I run the marketing and the NPD, the new product development. But I'm not so good on the operational side. When it comes to forecasts and forecasting all the ingredients and how many units our retailers will need and when we're going to run out of stock, that's not me. And I put my hands up. You cannot be good at everything. So what I suggest you do is you find somebody that does. And that doesn't necessarily mean you go out and you may not have the money to employ somebody straight away. So you can outsource. There are so many freelancers and consultants out there that you can pay for about 5 or 10% of their time a week, so you don't pay them like a full-time wage. Find somebody, outsource it to somebody that can help you, either freelance or a consultant. Do the things that you're good at. Don't be afraid to admit the things that you're not, and find help in those areas.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Obviously, you can't expect one person to be good at everything, so you need a team, don't you? So you mentioned it was like a family thing, you were helping out, doing things, but now as the business has developed and grown, I'm sure you've got a team now together. Is it quite a large team, big team, or average size team, or
Yeah, we've grown over the 7 years. There's about 10 of us now. So we have a head of sales, and then another salesperson underneath them. We have a head of marketing. We have somebody for digital marketing. We have an office manager, and somebody to help the office manager with orders, because we're doing quite a lot online. Over lockdown, our business suffered. It was literally overnight. We had a huge dip in sales, and that was scary. We thought, how are we going to survive? We had to invest in digital marketing. So we got out there on Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and we thought, okay, we're going to sell direct to consumer. But none of the factories were open. So one of the really nice people in our team made her house into a factory. So we just took all of the boxes and the products out, and she worked tirelessly to send out those products. So that's what we did. And you just have to kind of pivot to market conditions, especially now.
We've got a question someone just typed in. It says, you seem like a natural leader. Is that something that you had to develop these leadership skills, or you're like born with it, or?
No, and the funny thing, I'm not a leader, and my husband joined the team. Well, we started in 2013. He joined the business in 2015 when I had my daughter, and he's much more of a natural leader. I am disorganized. He manages me, and I manage kind of marketing. So I'm a creative in that sense. So I mean, I offer good advice. I can offer my advice of what I've experienced over the years, but I do find it hard managing people. I'm very emotional.
But you have like two types of leadership, one that leads from the front and one that leads from the back here. I mean, we see you as like the face of it, being on Dragon's Den and doing all these marketing interviews and things like this. So, you know, obviously.
Yeah. And I think it's very much, my husband, Manav, he's very much into business culture and making businesses more efficient and people culture. So, you know, he knows how to maybe get the best out of people, because as your team gets, you know, when there are a few of us, it's easier. I find when the team gets bigger, it's harder to keep that positive culture going. So you need the right type of person to implement, you know, strategies in place to get the best out of everybody, or else, you know, it's hard, and it gets harder when you get more types of people. I'm not good in that sense, but I guess I'm good on the marketing and the creativity side, and I guess I have my teams and he has his responsibilities, and I'm grateful that he's in, because if I didn't have him, then maybe I would have somebody in to cover the areas that I'm not strong at, and that is one of those areas.
Yeah, marketing is very, very important for any business. How did you advertise your business anyway? How do you advertise? I know you've been on Dragon's Den, and that was a big platform for you to advertise your business and that. But other than that, social media, how else? How do you market?
I think within our industry is called FMCG, food, so fast-moving consumer products, and it's a little bit different with ours. We do invest in digital. We've invested actually quite a lot for Instagram as well. I think Instagram has really revolutionized marketing and the way businesses market their products. It's one of the main forms of marketing now, because you don't always have the budget, and we certainly don't have the budget, you know, to be at bus stops and billboards and, you know, tube stations and advertisements. I don't think you will have the budget to do that, you know, for another couple of years, say. So I think the best type of marketing is viral marketing, and guerrilla marketing is where you think, you know, you maybe get a celebrity, not to pay that celebrity to use your product or be seen with your product, but get somebody that is just interested in your product, that has a passion for your product, even if they didn't get paid. And what you find is that they will be your brand ambassadors, say. So it's always, Instagram's got millions of people. You'll always find users on Instagram that will shout about your product because they have a passion for that industry, and not just because they're paid. And a lot of the time we don't pay our users on Instagram. We just gift the product and they just go on about it. And luckily we're in food. People are very passionate about food. When they taste something, or, you know, that they like, they tend to recommend it. So we're very lucky in that sense for the industry. So and then we do ads. You know, we go out to distributors. So a distributor we sell into, and that distributor sells to many other independent retailers. So you have to advertise in their catalogs. You do displays in certain stores, such as there's a health food store in London. They have about 6 or 7 stores, and you can do a window display, and you have to pay for positioning in certain products, in certain areas of the store. Like, for example, when you go to Tesco and you see an end cap, they're not just positioned there, you pay for that. So I guess a lot of the marketing in the food and drink world is what you invest with the retailer, and that's how you get seen.
Yeah, there's another question. How important are innovation and creativity in your business?
I think innovation is very important, because you don't want to be a Me Too product. What's the point in coming onto the market when there's so many people that are doing the same thing as you? That's not to say you can't do something that other people are doing, but what makes your product different? What makes your product better? So it's having that point of differentiation, that you can go out to consumers and say, well, hey, our product does this, and that's why we're unique, and that's why you should buy us, and these products, you know, don't have this. And so you need to kind of know your points of differentiation and unique selling points, and really get those out there. But I think innovation and creativity is important, because it's good having a product, but it's always good to be introducing new products as well. I can't speak for every industry, but for the food industry, it's good to be coming out with something fresh and new, that consumers will like. Otherwise, I mean, it's such a fast-paced industry. There's so many competitors, and the way that you're recognized is also by introducing new products.
Okay, let me ask you some more questions on the Dragon's Den appearance. Firstly, how do you get on Dragon's Den? There may be some entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, who've got some fantastic ideas, and they would like to have that platform. Do you need to have some contacts, or is it some application forms that you filled in, or how do you get on there?
You know, I'll be very honest. They actually reached out to us, and I mean, we're in Manchester, so it's filmed in Manchester, and within Dragon's Den, they like a lot of food and drink industries. So I think they reached out to us one year, and we were just too busy and under-resourced, so we didn't have time. And then they reached out to us the following year, and then we thought, well, why not? However, I have had other friends in different industries reach out and just fill out the form and the criteria, and they've quite easily got an audition and gone on. So it's not as hard or tricky or challenging as you think. So you've got nothing to lose, really, just to kind of fill out that form and get on.
Okay. Do you regret not accepting the Dragon's offer?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think it was 30. No, we were offering 5% for 50,000, and I think Deborah wanted 30% for 50,000. I knew the business was worth a lot more, and you sometimes have to go with your gut feeling. Although we really needed the money at that point, I was not willing to give away that much equity for such a little amount. And we went on to raise with friends and family. When I say friends and family, that is your first round that you do, and is predominantly done through angel investors and small investments. And we went on a valuation that was much higher, and we got a lot more money. So no, don't regret that.
There's another question here. Someone's typed, how do you protect your products from copycats?
That's a good question. It depends, again, what industry that you're in, because you can get various patents that you can apply for. Unfortunately, in the food world, you can't. And I mean, I'll tell you something interesting. When I said that we started off making health food bars, it was just fruit and nut bars, and we were one of the first onto the market, and that's why we did so well. However, there were so many people, because the barriers to entries were so low. I started at home, so what does that stop somebody else from starting at home? So there were a lot more bars similar to ours on the market, and we saw that sales were declining because it wasn't about the brand, it became about price. And if there were other products which were similar, people would just buy something cheaper. I mean, in the end, we've delisted that product now, and we're making other products, but you can't, in a short answer, you can't stop other people. But it's your innovation and your creativity and your brand. Your brand is so important, because that's why people will buy your product and not somebody else's. If they buy into what you're about, what your product is about, and why you do what you do, that's more important than what the product is. Brand power is especially important, and it's something that we didn't have money to focus on, and we've only had money in the last 9 months to focus on our branding. So that's what we're doing now.
Do you work like locally, nationally, or even internationally? Are your products only for the UK people, or?
Oh no, we sell as far as Australia. We sell Australia. We've sent orders to Asia. We sell quite a lot into Germany, Scandinavia. I mean, as you know, with food brands and vegan trends, it's kind of a worldwide thing. So yeah, we export.
And also, does your company help community where you're located? What you sort of help?
Well, we actually want to do more. That's why now that we've got investment, for example, we were due to move offices, and we were going to have some space in our office. So we wanted to maybe help other young entrepreneurs to, maybe if they needed office space, they could have used, a couple of desks in our office. We're always kind of putting ourselves out there for advice for other people, in the food and drink industry, that are starting out, that need help and guidance. So we are starting to give back now that we can, now that I feel like I've gained a bit of experience.
Okay, we have 2 questions because we need to wrap up before 3 o'clock today. So first question is, where do you see your company in 5 years' time?
In 5 years' time, I hope for when consumers think of vegan chocolate, I would like them to think of our brand, Love Raw. I would like us to be accessible, in all supermarkets and, food service, such as train stations and airports. So I think it's accessibility. We want to retail our products in as many places that we can, and also have international presence in Europe. So that's where I see us.
Thank you. Now, to wrap up, I think I'll ask this question. If you had one piece of advice to someone just starting up, what would it be?
I think that's a hard one. I mean, I mentioned it in my presentation. Do what you love. You have to really have a passion and do something that you enjoy, that's going to get you through the hard days. And believe me, there's more hard days than good and easy. And you have to be resilient. Sorry, that's a little bit extra, but be resilient. You have to have a thick skin, and have that confidence to kind of take you onto that next level.
Okay, thank you very much. Unless someone has any questions, Professor Ahmed, you want to ask, or should we wrap up there? Okay, thank you very much, Rimi, for your time. I know you're very, very keen.
And thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you very much. So anybody who is interested in knowing more about Rimi's business, you could just Google Love Raw, or what is your website? Is it loveraw.co.uk?
It's eatloveraw.com, EAT, and then love, LOVE, RAW.com, and I'm sure all your young people will be on Instagram, so we are at Love Raw, LOVERAW.
And also, if you want to see Rimi's appearance on Dragon's Den, you can Google. I'm sure it's on YouTube as well. So
Yeah, it's on.
once again, Rimi, thank you very much. And thank you, everyone, for joining us on live stream on Facebook. And we will have this interview uploaded on our YouTube channel as well. So thank you very much, and have a great day. Stay safe.
Yeah, thank you for listening, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.